And now it's time for
a tiny bite
of knowledge.
Last May 10th really created a lot of challenges in the field for GPS operators due to the solar storm that happened. There were a lot of planters that day that actually shut down and actually sat in the field, which is interesting because during that time, we actually had really good planting conditions in most of the area. It was in between rain showers and we had more rain in the forecast. So normally everybody would be going great guns and they shut down simply because they didn't have GPS. That creates a really good conversation around why GPS is so important. There's a thought out there that perhaps auto steer and guidance and GPS is simply a luxury in agriculture today, and yet it seems to be a necessity.
Yes, and not only does it allow farmers to drive straight in the field, which is really nice, but there's also other benefits that come along with that. So when a farmer is able to set an A-B line and then go along that same path back and forth throughout the field, it allows farmers to better use the field that they're planting, right? So if we can reduce the amount of overlaps where the planter we're not seeding over an area that we've already seeded, due to human error of driving a tractor and having curves, or reducing the amount of area that is left unplanted because we're not driving completely straight. That helps not only with maximizing our yield, going back to that efficiency piece and using every acre to the fullest, but also reducing the amount of opportunity for weeds to come in and grow where there isn't crop competing with it. So not only driving straight is handy, but it also really helps farmers be more efficient with their resources when it comes to planting.
I think along with that efficiency piece, it's important to remember that a lot of this equipment today also has section control on it. And so it'll have automatic row shutoffs for the overlap. And if we don't have GPS telling us where we are, that section control is not going to operate correctly. And so again, to your field efficiency, we won't be able to be the most efficient with our field. So absolutely, this GPS totally plays into farmers being able to be the most efficient with the land that they have to farm. Another item that's really important is the fact that, it used to be when Grandpa farmed, you worked from sun up to sundown. The truth of the matter is, with GPS and auto guidance and auto steer, we can work when the sun isn't necessarily up because we don't actually need to be able to physically see where we're driving out in the landscape. We can actually see the line that we're supposed to follow on a screen in front of us, or the tractor is actually driving itself. This is a big deal because it allows us to maximize the good field conditions when they exist. When we have really great planting conditions, we're really able to get out there and maximize the time that we have to be in the field, regardless of whether we've got the sun up or sun down. Ironically, on that May 10th, when the GPS signal went out and we couldn't drive straight anymore, there was no way we could work when the sun went down that day.
And that's not only like GPS is great to have when it's dark outside, but there's a whole load of other sensors that help farmers maximize those ideal planting conditions. For example, having some sort of sensor that says, hey, you've got a row that is not planting anymore. Better stop and take a look at it. There's a lot of stuff that's going on in the tractor cab that is going on when a farmer's in the field. You're not only watching your map and your guidance to maximize field efficiency and reduce overlap, but you're also watching the sensors that are coming from your planter. You also have to watch out to make sure that your seed is still coming out of the planter. There are sensors and screens and buttons and lights that all tell the farmer how that process is going. And so having guidance and having that auto steer allows the farmer to focus not only on where the tractor's going, but more importantly, how well that seed is getting placed into the ground. Again, like we talk about in agronomy, it is so crucial. The most crucial part of the whole process is getting the planting piece right. And so it sounds weird, but having that auto steer really helps farmers get that step of the process right.
I think people forget just how exhausting it is when you sit in the seat and you have to concentrate so hard on driving straight. Auto steer might seem like a luxury, but when you don't have it and you need to sit in that seat and focus on that point that's in front of you, that's going to allow you to drive straight. It distracts the farmer from being able to focus on all of those other things, Jody, that you just mentioned that are going on in the cab. Farmers are watching the down pressure of their planters to make sure that that is dialed in. Farmers have the opportunity now to adjust their row cleaners on the go. We're farming in high crop residue situations, and so you want to be able to clear that residue out of the way so that that seed can really get into the soil properly. And of course, that seed placement is just so critical. So when we don't have to focus on driving straight, we can watch all of these other things that are going on in the tractor cab.
Absolutely. And one of the things that is probably going on in the tractor cab too is using a variable rate seeding map. Probably with that too, using variable rate fertilizer. And so in order for these prescriptions to work, they need good GPS signal to tell the tractor and the planter specifically where in the field the planter needs to change that rate according to that variable rate prescription. And so you just need GPS to be working in order to make those rate changes happen and account for and respond to the variability that is in the field.
Absolutely. And one thing that we glossed over the fact, but if we're going to have a variable rate map, we probably need to be logging data as well in the field so that we know how our zones should be set up, so that we know how to make a good prescription. And so actually able to log the work that we are doing is incredibly work, like yield data collection and those sorts of things.
And as applied maps, right? I mean, say if you're somebody that's doing, this isn't specific to May 10th, but say if you're somebody that's doing a variable rate lime application, you probably want to know where exactly in the field you had applied that lime and where you didn't. So without GPS, you can't get a good as applied map. Or say if you're someone doing research, like a strip trial of applying a product and not applying a product, it becomes impossible to get trustworthy as applied maps when the GPS signal isn't working as it should.
So GPS, is it a luxury in agriculture today, or is it a necessity?
It's a necessity.
It's a necessity.
Tune in next time
For a tiny bite
of knowledge
from GK Technology,
where we have a map
and an app
for that.
Let the geeks at GK Technology help you with your agricultural data. Their agronomists know agriculture. When it comes to creating soils and zone maps to maximize yields in your fields, you can trust the people with decades of experience in site-specific agriculture. Everyone at GK Technology has a background in agriculture, so they know what makes a farm run, and they speak your language. The geeks at GK Technology have a map and an app for that.